Hey, I built an AI tool within 2 days. And you should too. It's really, really easy. You're thinking one of three things. One, geez, they are super talented. I'm very, very envious. Two, they're full of a crock of. Or three, you're thinking, I'm going to reach out to Rafi, because he's done this for Cyabra, and he's going to tell us how he did it and how to prevent various mistakes happening along the way. So give a hand for Rafi, Cyabra.
Good morning, everyone. Over the last few months at Cyabra, we've been building an internal tool quietly that's going to help us scale, is helping us scale already, our content, our thought leadership, our social, and our PR. And over the next 15 minutes, I want to show you what we did, crucially what didn't work, what did work, and then hopefully a bit of a plan so that you guys can go and do and build the same thing and even better. But exactly like Billy said, I also have my feed that is full of all these kinds of posts about AI. You should be building it, it's the future, I spent a couple of hours building this and now I sit on the beach all day, and all of these different kinds of posts are full my feed. And then you also get, in case you weren't sure whether it's something for now or whether it's something for the future, you get, it's no longer a trend. It's no longer a trend, it's here. It's no longer a trend. You then get, in my opinion, the worst kinds of posts, which are people advocating for, you should just fire all of your team. We see this, our CEOs see this, and I don't believe in that. And I'm not just saying that because some of my team are here, but that advocating, you can do it all, you can fire your team, you can cut your resources, isn't it so easy? And now I think we've even gone full circle, because you have people that are advocating or bragging about building AI agents to get rid of AI agents to bring back the human touch. What is going on? So all of these viral posts and viral claims are being seen by us and increasing our expectations, and also increasing our expectations from CEO and people that we work with. I won't ask you to put your hand up if you've received a link or been tagged on LinkedIn by people you work with or your CEO, but feel free to nod along if that's something you've seen as well. Lots of people nodding and raising their hands, thank you. But when we came to this, actually the gap was huge, and we didn't find the quality that we needed, so we thought, okay, let's quietly build it ourselves. At Cyabra, we are on a mission to fight disinformation. Really interesting space, and it's not a massive problem just according to us, but the World Economic Forum places this as one of the biggest issues around the world, and we work with governments, intel units, Austin intel units, to be able to monitor elections and public discourse, and we also work with brands to help them protect their brand reputation. We've had some great wins. We worked with Elon Musk, as he was looking to acquire Twitter, and he wanted to know how many fake accounts there are on Twitter, now X, and we were able to provide and work with him to provide that answer. But as a company, as a solution, there isn't a defined industry for us. This is very new. There are a small number of companies, including us, that are coming up with the solutions to be able to deal with this growing and relatively new problem. And there's a big problem, especially with the brands, of they don't know what they don't even know. So as a marketing strategy, education, particularly through content, is really key for us. And so we know what is working, our reports or analysis is being picked up by media around the world, and we know it gets through, and so we want to do more of that. And naturally, you think, okay, AI, how can we use AI to help us do more and better and quicker, not replace people, of what we're doing already and what works. And so we tried that. And we made lots and lots of mistakes. And we loaded up all the brand books and the handbooks and all the content into a few agents, and then we asked a few AI agents to, massive prompts and all these multi-step thing, and none of it worked. Either it looked not specific to Cyabra, it could have been for any company in our industry and outside, or it was shouting to lots of different audiences and target audiences and wasn't interesting for them, or it was just what they called AI slop. It was just words on a page, but it was not good. And so we tried to upload more handbooks and give it more training, and the more we did that, actually the quality decreased. It got worse, and the longer the prompts, it just got worse and worse. And so we hit a few brick walls, and I had the very good luck to bump into a friend of mine, Elon Musk, who is in the audience over there. Put your hand up, Elon, don't be shy. And Elon has worked at a bunch of different startups before leading the marketing, and was working on a project actually not for marketers but with the investor community, building AI agents, and came across a lot of the brick walls that we had come across, and actually kind of engineered his way through different solutions. And he shared with me 2 insights that led us on a completely different path that allowed us to build what we've built now. And the first one is, you have to build a brain, not a folder. When you onboard a human, you wouldn't just share a folder and, hey, read all of this and then come back to me in a week. You're onboarded. You would give them the context, you would talk them through that journey, you would wait, you have your competitors, but this is the main competitor, you have all the different contexts. I've since discovered there is a word for this, contextual AI, but you have to build that brain that understands and has multiple parts, as we're going to see in a second. And then the other one is, when you build agents, build lots of agents and give them one job each, like line cooks in a kitchen. One's cutting the salad, one's cutting the tomatoes, one's stirring the soup. I can't cook, so I will stop the analogy there. But what we were both in agreement of is that humans have to be involved at every single step of the way. There has to be a human editor. This is not a talk about replacing your team, and again, not just because they're in a crowd. You have to have human editors at every point, as we're going to see. And so that's how Marko was born. And so we built a bunch of different agents to be able to see what we could do. And so let's start with the brain. I don't have enough time to show you the kind of back end and how we built it and on Superbase, although I'll show you some of the tools that we use. But the brain is comprised of 3 kind of main categories. Firstly, it's everything about Cyabra, all our internal documents, handbooks, brand, ICP, everything, and then all of the content that we've ever created. Then it's industry information, reports, white papers, everything that's out there about our industry, but it's also putting in on a daily and weekly basis new information for our industry, and then waiting. If there's a white paper or a report that was published a month ago compared to a year ago, compared to 2 years ago, it knows to give it that extra context. And the third is competitors, pulling in all of the information competitors, but also on a real-time basis of what are the campaigns that they're launching, what's the new things that they're coming out with. And so it's almost like a market intelligence brain that firstly is able to give us more information about the industry, tell us things that we didn't even know, but is the brain where everything else is feeding off, and that's really, really crucial. Now, instead of telling you, I'm just going to show you. In fact, I think we can do a bit better, and actually we can just create in the next few minutes a bit of content, and for this purpose, I'm going to be picking on Billy. With her permission, but I'm going to be picking on Billy because I don't know if you know, but Billy is a massive business and tech mogul, and she has a big brand reputation, and the bigger reputation you have, the more likely it is that the kind of disinformation tactics that we see are going to be directed towards executives and leaders. So why don't we create a guide for Billy and people like Billy who can put together and start planning the brand protection guidelines so that Billy can protect her brand. And so we're going to go straight into Marko, and this is Marko. You have the knowledge base, as we said, and you have the AI chat, which is like a chat GPT, but pulling from the brain so it knows more about us. And this is just the idea section. So at the moment, you're just creating ideas. Because it has the brain, you can auto-generate. It can suggest, Marko can suggest ideas for you. More often than not, we use it with our own idea. And then we'll pop in an idea. Okay, let's make a guide for Billy. Because Billy is being targeted, disinformation tactics, and so let's create a guide that allows her and people like her to protect her reputation. And you can choose between the private and the public sector, 2 of the audiences that we've trained. When we say private sector, Marko knows what we mean by that. And also we have different kinds of content, a couple of different blog posts, and also a guide. So we're going to choose a guide here. And then after a minute and 12 seconds to be exact, still in the ideas section, it spits out 2 ideas. Not the content, not even the whole the outline, but 2 ideas that are roughly similar. You can either edit, or if you like one of them, and I've chosen the second one, you can create a brief. Still not the content, still an editor, human, at every point of the way. And so we can create a brief, and now Marko's going away and is going to create the brief. After 6 minutes, although I went for lunch and had a meeting, so it says 2 hours, after 6 minutes it came back with a brief. So we're gone from ideas down to the brief. We're still not in the content section, and there's a person at every stage of the way. And so the brief is the outline of what the guide would look like, and it gives the outline of exactly the different sections, what it plans to talk about, and then, and so it's going to open that up in a second, and it's going to give us a really good idea of this is exactly what it suggests. It's putting in information from the industry, from Cyabra as well, and then you can see all the content structure. So it's reminding us of the target audience and the goal. Here are all the different content sections, maybe a small introduction. We've trained it how we like guides. We don't like 60-page guides. We want something shorter, more to the point, giving value from the very first sentence, and we trained it on that. And it even has created on its own a prepare framework. We didn't tell it to do that. It's been able to create that from all of the resources, and it shows you all of the links, outside links, that it's going to pull in and plans on quoting within the guide itself. So it's telling us even at this early stage. If you like it, you can then give the green light for Marko to go ahead, or you can edit the brief. I don't know if you've ever created something on AI and you like most of it, but just not one thing, and you want it to change that one thing, but it changes everything, all the good stuff as well. So here you can control section by section exactly what you want to change. You like sections 1 and 2 but not 3, delete 3. Or you can make that change, or you can add additional sections, or you can even play around with the sources that it's planning on bringing. If there's something about, it's pulling in a source from a competitor, you don't want to include competitor information in your guide, you can also delete that at this stage before it's even created it. So you have full control. While it's cooking in the background, it's now creating it. Some of the back end, this is built on NA10, lots of different agents. The brief is coming in, it's pulling in the information, a different agent to pass through the information and make sense of it. Then you have a different agent to create the blog, to actually draft it. Then you have a completely different agent and a set of mechanisms to edit the blog. And then the first few iterations that we created with guides and blogs were way too long. Even though we told them to, they were way too long. So we had to create another agent that was just checking the word count and making sure that it was within 800 words, exactly what we wanted, so we could guarantee that it was valuable. But ping, the oven is ready, and the food is ready to come out, Marko is ready, and after, I think it was about 12 minutes, we are now in the content items. So it's created this guide that we've gone through stage by stage, exactly what we wanted, and we can see exactly, this is now our guide. This is our guide to help leaders like Billy to protect their brand reputation and put that into place. And so it gives them introduction, gives them context, it goes through some of the definitions, but then also allows you to start building or thinking about how to build your detection system. It goes through all those steps to try and make it as valuable as possible, and then has a conclusion at the end. Now, if you like this, perfect. If it's oven ready, great. You can then go away and publish it. If you want to continue to make changes, which you might want to do, you can either edit or you can request a change, and then Marko will go through that same process again and make those changes. Or you can straight away go and publish it to WordPress, which we have an option of doing it here. But again, it goes in as a draft in WordPress. It's not going to do it automatically. There's going to be a person involved in every single section. You could download the PDF. Now, we designed the guides, we're going to update the designs of them, but just in the first instance, just to show I'm not full of bullshit, here is the QR code that if you wanted to download the guide now, just to see that the quality is good, Billy, feel free to download and use the QR code. That's the guide that was created, and you can access it yourself, and you can check it, and you can read it, and actually see that it's good quality. We went through a lot of iterations where the quality just wasn't good enough, so we continued to train and continued to build the brain. So you've built the content, either your blog post or your guide, you've gone through that process, you're really happy with what's been created, but everyone in marketing, especially content marketing, it's about the content, but also it's about repurposing it, and then focusing on the thing that sometimes gets ignored, is the distribution. How do we get our great content that we're really happy with and get it to as many places as possible? So the way that we think about it is a big rock, right? The guide or the blog post is this big rock, and from that we want to create smaller stones from it. And so you can create images, carousel slides, social media posts for the company or for executives, sales and nurture emails, and you can do all of those things as the next step. And so within the content, you have all of the content here, and then it gives you the option to go to derivatives, and we've trained how we like a social media post, how we like a social media post for the CEO, how we like carousel slides. We've trained it on exactly when we say a nurture email, we mean this. And so you can constantly change it and constantly iterate. You can have a paragraph of the newsletter, you can click sales and emails, like a shopping list. You can click, and go along the route and then request everything that you want, and then generate the derivatives, create the smaller stones. In social, you can also do the same with company social media posts, CEO social media posts, myself as well, and if it worked on LinkedIn at 9 AM this morning, on my own LinkedIn post, I posted the post that it suggested, and also ads. So if our head of demand gen, Gilad, who's here, who's trained it and how he likes the ads, if he wants to turn this into a campaign, he can then take this and immediately start running this. So from one bit of content, we can now almost run a whole campaign, but at the very least make sure that we can get it out to as many different places. And after 12 minutes of choosing exactly what you wanted, we now have social media posts, posts for executives, a sales email, the beginnings of the ad campaign on LinkedIn, and carousel slides. And we're going to constantly iterate and improve the design, but it knows our brand design, and this has all been created. So it's taking this process, and crucially, all the content that you've approved that you've liked has then gone back into the brain. So that the Cyabra brain knows not to generate the exact same information or to contradict the information. And so the content that you're creating is then going in to teach it itself. It's taken the process of researching, drafting, writing, perfecting from about 3 days down to about 1 to 2 hours, including creating all of those derivatives. The processing time of the guide that we just went through now was 32.5 minutes. And so you might want to spend more time editing if there's something particular. I'm not saying every single time. You might want to spend another hour making the changes or doing a bit more research, but that's really crucial. You need to bake that into the system to allow a person to be able to put their own stamp on it or to make their own changes. And we now are building many more modules off the back of it, because if we build the brain, we can build individual agents. And so there's things that we haven't done. Researching podcasts and conferences, uploading a report, and then it suggests, this is the latest thing we built, it suggests the journalists, based on what they've written, that might be interested in the story, and will draft a pitch for them. Now you still want to pitch, you still want to do the hard work, you still want to build all of the relationships, not replacing anybody, it's just giving you that kind of superpower to do that. So that was Marko. How can you build that? Let's go to you. There's the principles, and then there's the specific steps, and I'll end there. So in terms of the principles, it's not going to replace humans. I think I've said that about 1 billion times. Anything without a brain produces average results. You have to have one agent doing one individual task. Don't overload it. It doesn't like multitasking. But actually, the most important point for me is these AI tools are not going to replace your strategy. As marketers, we have our strategy that's built into the core goals of the company, then you have your tactics off of that, and then you have the tools to support that. And it should always be that way around. AI tools are never going to replace the strategy. And then in terms of the next 30 days, or something you can do from now, start thinking beyond the GPT prompts, dive and start playing around with automation tools like NA10. Start with a small team. We did that internally. Only after about, this is 7 months, we started doing this. Only after about 4 months did I actually show it to my CEO, because it was this kind of secret lab project. We didn't know what it would build. And whether you have built it internally, or whether you bring in an external consultant, like I did with Elon, begged him to come on board and help us out as a consultant to help build this. If Cyabra is the Sistine Chapel, Elon is definitely the Michelangelo. But you can do also people internally if they have more technical abilities. They don't have to be a developer as well, to build out your small team, internal or external, and then start with one automation, one process, one bit of content, and start building it out from there. We didn't have all of these derivatives, all of these smaller stones, and we built it out one by one. And this is some of the tech stack that we used to build it. The Superbase is where the brain is living. NA10 is all the individual agents that are now talking to each other. OpenRouter pulls that in. We actually also have Lovable, was the front page of that. And I'm sure, hopefully, your minds are swimming of all the other things and ways you can improve it. And so I'm excited to hear all the ways that you guys do it and build it and improve it. And I'm here all morning and looking forward to seeing what you guys have built. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. We have time for 2 questions, Lilia.
Thanks so much, Marko. That's amazing, and upload to it is clear. But could you speak a little bit about the budget that took both to build it and also to support it on the day-to-day, because there are servers and APIs of AI, so just to understand the range.
Sure. So the budget was working with Elon. That was really because we knew we didn't have the technical capabilities, and also he had worked on this. I didn't request additional budget. I was kind of able to siphon off to keep it as like a secret project, and we didn't know what we'd build. And then in terms of credits, I probably update at about $100 each month. That allows it to do that. Now, as we're doing more images, we're going to start doing more like product stuff with videos. It'll be a little bit more, but not significant amounts. Even if you have a small budget, $100 a month, that's what we spend. Maybe $100 every 2 months. I picked someone? Oh,
I picked one.
That's tough. Yes?
How do you avoid hallucinations?
So, that's a really good question. Two ways. Firstly, how do you avoid hallucinations? So it's really, really important. The brain, firstly, so that it has more context and it can know. A human at every single point, it tells them clear. And also we actually added agents as kind of anti-hallucination agents to check as well. Now of course it's not foolproof, anything with AI isn't going to be 100%, so we need to kind of build that in, but the earlier versions were just full of hallucinations, nothing was published, we wouldn't dare do any of that. We didn't want to compromise on the quality, because also in terms of misinformation, trust, if we start putting out stuff that's not right, we're going to get in a lot of trouble very, very quickly. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Rafi. That was inspiring.